I am, the more I think about what's happening in America and around the world, it's amazing to see it. I never thought, but then I understand it, that I will see the day when a country of freedom would be the entire country would be turned into enslavement. I want my country back. And the fact that there are people deliberately fighting to control others for a perceived sense of power and wealth is all ego, all evil, and it's amazing to see others falling for it. When you fall for losing your freedom, freedom of speech, Second Amendment, just turning your life over to someone else, you know you lost your mind. You've been brainwashed. When I think about what they're doing in the schools today, and the parents still send their children off to school, it's mind-blowing. That would not have happened in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men. I'm looking at, but then I understand it because I've seen what happened with the blacks over the years, how they went from pretty much normal individuals with families and loving God and their neighbor as themselves to no family, no love at all for not only themselves or anyone, and they're just as blind as a bat and cannot see what's going on. But I never expected it to be spread into other cultures and communities. But evil is evil. Our battle is a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil. We are not in control of anything. The ego, which is of Satan control, those are the fallen state, and the love, which is of God, a higher nature, control, which is of God, those who overcome the fallen state. It has nothing, absolutely nothing, zero to do with racism, sexism, homophobism, Islamophobism, deadbeatism, Allahu Akbarism, or white supremacist anti-Semitism. No isms, really. But the children of the lie make up words to deceive you. I was counseling yesterday with someone, and they brought up this word like. It was hard for them to see there's no such thing as like. I like you, right? It's either love or hate. But the children of the lie make up words to deceive you. And the person had a hard time trying to figure out, well, if someone has a bad personality, do you like that person? Not like them, right? You don't want to be around them. But there is no like. It's either love or hate, good and evil. And you got to realize that because the children of the lie are setting it up to have complete control of you. I never thought that could possibly happen in this country. And then I noticed that they're allowing the blacks to just go wild. Murdering, robbing, stealing, killing, raping, all over the country. And people just look at the blacks. And the news barely report it, especially the liberal news. They won't touch it because they are helping to usher in destruction in America. It has nothing to do with slavery or any of those things.
And now, please welcome to the stage, California Governor Gavin Newsom.
Finally, we are here, June 15th, to turn the page, to move beyond capacity limits, to move beyond these color coding move beyond social distancing and physical distancing. And yes, as you saw me walk up the stage, move beyond mask coverings. And full disclosure, there are a few caveats in that respect, but we'll get to those nuances and details. Every single person in California that's received a vaccine is eligible for the drawing we'll have today and has been eligible for the drawings that we've done last Friday and the Friday before. But with that in mind, let me introduce you just briefly to two of those individuals, because we got to hand them their checks, getting healthy and getting rich at the exact same time. Nice to see you already. How are you? Why don't we come close to this mic? Let me, I want to, before we hand the checks out, I want to just briefly, Lorena, thank you for being here.
Amazing. A fake game show host. You're right, Chris. This little Weasley emotional nothing controlling the people. If it wasn't for that, he would have nothing going on in life. And the people are all happy. How are you happy being under someone else like that? You must be some unhappy people. You better overcome the fallen state. Well, I recommend it. Do what you want. The government is working overtime to rule the world, right? To a point that they're encouraging the weak people to snitch on their own neighbors. Yesterday, this is from CNN. Yesterday, Attorney General Garland gave a policy address to announce Joe Biden's first national strategy to combat domestic terrorism. Watch this.
I'm pleased to announce that the administration is today releasing the first national strategy for countering domestic terrorism. Our current effort comes on the heels of another large and heinous attack, this time the January 6th assault on our nation's capital. To move forward as a country, to punish the perpetrators, to do everything possible to prevent similar attacks. According to an unclassified summary of the March Intelligence Assessment, the two most lethal elements of the domestic violence extremist threat are racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists and militia violent extremists. In the FBI's view, the top domestic violent extremist threat comes from racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically those who advocated for the superiority of the white race.
Amazing. Everybody attacking white people while the people who are causing the problem running wild. It's mind-blowing to see this. The true terrorists of our country are running wild, committing terrorism. Remember Black Lives Matter? The far-left, liberal, radical, black organization that was founded by a bunch of fat, black, radical lesbians. A complete insurrection upon America. No mention of it. It's just protest. So I want to show you something that made no sense. It's only appeasement, and it's set up to use the people. Throw them a bone, and you can use them whatever you want to. And you know how they are destroying the statues and the monuments and the Confederate flags and want to rename the schools, all the junk that they're trying to create. They're taking down the beauty of America and replacing it with junk. And the reason they're replacing it with junk, because they want to continue to brainwash and control the people. This is from Yahoo News. Yesterday, the Senate passed a bill to establish something called Juneteenth, the day marking the end of slavery as a national holiday. So they want to make some black event a national holiday. Why? It doesn't make sense. So they're taking down the real holidays and replacing them with fake holidays just to appease losers, because they need the losers in order to get the loser to vote for them to stay in so-called power. And the blacks are jumping up and down about it, I'm pretty sure. But, and I have told you that we only have a one-party system in our country now. There is no Republican Party. In namesake only. But behind closed doors, the Republican Party is the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party is far left, and the Republican, along with the older Democrats, I guess, are kind of following the radical left. Be not deceived, we do not have a Republican Party. And the best way to overcome that, you got to vote out all these old Republican representatives who've been there forever. They're not working for you. They're working against you. They want the exact same thing the Democrats want: perceived power and wealth. And just because they go on TV and pretend to be angry at the Democrats, they're not. Look at their actions. So Yahoo News reported yesterday the Senate passed a bill to establish something called the Juneteenth, the day marking the end of slavery, as a national holiday. We don't want George Washington. We don't want Independence Day. We don't want Thanksgiving or Christmas. We want Juneteenth. Juneteenth or whatever you want to call it. Can you get any dumber than that? The bill passed by everybody. Not one Republican that I'm aware of voted against it. And they all know that it's wrong. It makes no sense. And they voted for it. That's because there is no Republican Party. Zero Republican Party. Donald Trump is the Republican Party. So, according to Yahoo News, the Republicans voted for it too. 18 GOP co-sponsored the bill. 18 Republican co-sponsored a dumb so-called holiday, Juneteenth, 10th, whatever it is. It's a black thing. 18 Republicans co-sponsor it. They helped to push it forward. Senator Ron Johnson, a Republican from Wisconsin, originally objected, but soon dropped. He soon dropped it, noting that there is no appetite in Congress to further discuss the matter. So the coward gave in, because he's not a real Republican, a Republican in namesake only. There is no need, except for Donald Trump, there is no need to vote for the Republican Party. Zero need. They're not representing Republican voters. They're representing Democratic voters. They masquerade as a Republican. This is from Times Record News. The bill was originally introduced by Senator John Cornyn, a Republican of Texas, alongside this evil, nasty, bearded woman, Sheila Jackson Lee. She's a Democrat. Following the number of George Floyd, an unemployed drug addict. Here's the soundbite.
People of maybe different political ideologies, certainly different parties, can come together and recognize that there is a moment available to us here where we can demonstrate our nonpartisan support for this act of racial reconciliation in our country. I agree that slavery was the original sin. Our founding documents said all men and women are created equal, but that certainly wasn't the practice when it came to African Americans. We're not where we need to be. We still have room to grow. In Texas, we've recognized the Juneteenth as a state holiday for 40 years. 40 years.
If you keep voting for these people, these so-called fake Republicans, you deserve what you got. You literally deserve what you got. Because that's not a Republican. That's a rhino. That is a rhino. John Cornyn, a Republican from Texas. And where did this idea come from that slavery was the sin of America? Who made that lie up? And why don't they ever mention that it was blacks in Africa, Mommy Africa, that sold other blacks to Arabs, who then went around the world selling black to the other folks? Why is that completely left out? Oh, I remember. To deceive. I want my country back, folks. Amazing. And don't forget to like, follow, tweet, subscribe, and share the Jesse Lee Peterson radio show, folks. We really appreciate it. We are at war. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of America. And it's going to take all of us to do it.